Hello, first graders. Welcome back to another math lesson. Today we're going to talk about a new skill that I've gotten ready for you. We're going to learn how to solve story problems and some tools we can use to get through those. The story problems we're going to talk about today are all going to use that missing add-in that we've been talking about and that missing partner. So let's go ahead and jump right in. The tool that I'm going to help teach you today is called Cubes. You can see it here on your screen. Cubes, Cubes, Cubes. Now, Cubes stands for something. It's called an acronym, which means it stands for something. Each letter is a reminder to what you need to do. Okay, it's going to remind you the steps on how to solve story problems. Now, you're going to use this process on solving some story problems today. You've got a couple ready to go in the Seesaw assignment and on your workbook on page 67, I believe. Yep, 67 right here. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about cubes and what it means. And then we'll use it on an example, and then you can try it on your own today. The first letter in cubes is the letter C, and C stands for circle the numbers. Now, this is pretty simple. You can probably guess what it means. You're basically going to look for all the numbers that you see in the story, and you're going to put a circle around all of them, and you want to make sure you're paying attention to the biggest number that you circle, because that biggest number is going to help you figure out where does it go. If it's addition, you know that the biggest number goes at the end. If it's subtraction, you know that the biggest number goes at the beginning when you're building your equations, and you're going to notice that equation is going to come up here in a second, and that's going to be something you're going to need. Now, U is underline the question. So you want to start with the capital letter, and you're going to go all the way to the question mark, remembering your punctuation power and remembering that punctuation power of the question mark. Some first graders, it's really helpful to start at the question mark and go backwards till you get to the capital letter. That way you know you got the whole sentence and the whole question, because it's really important to know what is the story asking you. If you don't underline the question and don't look at it, you're not going to understand what the story is asking you or what you're supposed to doing in your math question. And that's really, really important. And if you're not paying attention, then it's just not going to make it very easy. B is box the math action words. Now, this is probably the hardest one, first grade friends, for you to do. And it's probably because, oops, sorry, made myself big. This is going to be the hardest one because it is, you got to decide what are those math action words. What are they? And I've got put together for you on the next slide some of the math action words that you're going to look for while we're working for missing add-ins. That'll help you, okay? So you want to look for the words that are going to tell you if this is a subtraction or addition problem. We know that missing add-in problems are subtraction problems that are just missing a piece that we've got to find. Some people like to work those backwards, but we know that we're working with that missing add-in, so we know that we're going to be doing addition with something gone. E stands for equation. You want to look at the numbers you circled, and you need to look at your math action word, and you need to use that info to make an equation for your math story, okay? So you need to look at all the numbers that you've circled, look at the question you underlined, look at the math action words. What is the equation you need for this story? And that's really important because every math story has an equation. And then finally, the S is solve. You need to draw a picture or use a tool to solve the equation. And most importantly, please do not forget your labels. When we are doing story problems and using cubes, we always, always, always need our labels. That is one of the most important parts. All right, so let's go ahead and let's put cubes to use, and let's practice it here on this problem I have set up for us. Our math action words, I put them up here that for add-in situations, things that you're going to look for are the rest, the others, or more. These tell me that these are good, that I'm working with an add-in situation, and that I'm going to be working with addition, so that these are going to help me there. So let's go ahead and draw our attention over here to our sentence, and I will walk us through the steps. So our first step told us that we need to circle the numbers. Now, I don't even need to read my question yet because I'm going to circle those numbers first. That's the most important thing I'm going to do. So I'm going to come through and I'm going to change this to red to match that step for us. And I am going to circle our numbers. Now, I see a 5 right here, and I see a 3 right here. So I'm going to go ahead and circle those numbers, and I'm going to pay attention to the fact that the 5 is the bigger number with those two. Okay, so I know that 5 is bigger than the 3. It's my bigger one, so it's going to be the one I pay attention to. Let's go ahead and look back at our chart, our cubes chart, and see what we need to do next. We need to underline the question. Now, this is where I can start looking at the question and reading it and see, okay, what is this question going to tell me to do? Now I'm going to switch to green like I had, and I'm going to read the whole story, and then I'm going to look for that question. There are 5 lions at the zoo. 3 are boys, the rest are girls. How many lions are girls? So I need to figure out how many of those lions are girls. And it told me that 3 are boys. So I know that there's a missing number there. But I'm going to underline my question, and I'm going to work backwards so that I know I'm doing the right thing. And I'm going to start with my question mark because I know that that's a punctuation power that ends a question. And I'm going to go until I see the first capital letter. Oh, and I see a capital H, so I'm going to stop right there. That tells me that that's my whole question. So how many lions are girls? So that's what I'm trying to figure out, is I'm trying to figure out not, are they boy lions, girl lions? I'm trying to figure out if there are girl lions and how many there are. So that's the situation that it's asking me to do. Now let's come back and look at our next one. We need to box the math action words. So we're going to box those math action words. I'm going to move myself around here. Oh, no, box those math action words. Now, if we remember, I told us that the math action words I'm looking for are the rest, the others, or more. Now I'm going to look back and see. There are 5 lions at the zoo. 3 are boys. The rest. Oh, there it is. The rest. So what color was I using for that? Blue. I'm going to put a blue box around the rest so that I remember that I'm working with addition and I'm missing addend, and that's those math action words for me. The rest are girls. How many lions are girls? How many lions are girls? Now let's go to our next step. Equation. So now I'm going to go ahead and write my equation. So I'll switch my pen to orange so I match my equation step here, just so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to write my equation. Now, remember I said that I know that 5 is the biggest number and that it's an addend situation where the addends, one's missing, and I'm trying to make the big number. So I know that whatever this is it's got to equal 5. I just know that right away. So I know that I also have 3 lions that are boys, and that some of them are girls, the rest are girls, but I don't know how many are girls. So that's the equation I know I can build, because I'm going to add my boy lions right here to my girl lions that I need to figure out right there. Now I'm going to go ahead and get ready for my next step, which is solve. So I'm going to come down in here in pink, and I am going to draw a picture to solve it. So I know that I've got 3. So I'm going to draw 3 right here. 1, 2, 3. Now I got to count on until I get to 5. 4, 5. So it took me 2. So 3 plus 2 equals 5. Well, now I've got my solve, so I'm going to go ahead and write my answer, that there are 2. Now, the one thing that is super, super important is I always have to put a label. I got to remind myself, what am I working with? Am I working with apples, bananas, monkeys, cats, chickens? I'm working with lions in this story. So I have to make sure I put my label, and I'm going to make sure that I write lions right there. All right. So first grade friends, I'm going to go ahead and assign this to you today. You want to go ahead and do page 67 in your workbook. It looks like this. You're going to do these 3 questions for me. And then number 4 asks you to tell me, why is it important to use a label? Please don't write that answer. I want you to use that microphone tool and record yourself telling me why it's important to use a label when we're doing a story problem, okay? So that's really, really important. We aren't going to be done until number 4. We need to use the mic. All right? Use the mic for number 4. Don't forget to do that. Okay, that's how you'll know you're done. And then when you're done, you'll click that green check mark. Well, thank you, first grade friends, for coming to math today. You know where to find me. You know where to find Miss Browning if you have any questions. But thank you so much for listening. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day and you enjoy.